And joining us now is retired U.S. Navy Captain Armen Kurdian. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Good evening, Natasha. Thank you for having me.
What is your read on this situation today? Do you feel that Iran is clearly behind this attack? And why would Iran provoke the U.S. this way in attacking a U.S. warship?
Well, there's no question they're behind these attacks. They have proxies in 6 nations in the Middle East, basically surrounding Israel. And their entire focus and goal is to destabilize the Middle East because they saw under the previous administration Israel signing treaties with 4 nations. Saudi Arabia, and under this administration, was looking to sign a deal. Iran saw that they had to remain relevant, so they basically greenlighted this attack from Hamas. A lot of the monies that have come back to Iran following the lifting of sanctions have allowed Iran to move other monies they otherwise would have used internally to fund these weapons, to fund the Houthi rebels, the Shiite militias in Syria and Iraq, Hamas and Hezbollah. And Israel finds itself surrounded on all sides. And these attacks are going to continue in growing in intensity as Iran continues to feel emboldened by our essential lack of response.
And I just want to follow up on what you just said. You said that Iran greenlit the attack by Hamas as well, or was it the Houthi rebels today, or both?
Well, I think both, basically. I don't think that the Houthi rebels would be going and attacking U.S. warship without some kind of indication from the Iranian Central Command, either the IRGC or the Quds Force, to go ahead and take those attacks. The same for the October 7th attack against Israel, and I believe kind of the same thing against the Shiite militias against our forces there. Basically, generals say, hey, harass the U.S. forces, maybe don't go after them too much, but kind of keep their heads down, keep the U.S. forces busy, but don't do too much to provoke too much of a big response. But I just cannot envision a scenario or a world where these attacks would be happening without some kind of tacit approval from Iran.
Okay, I appreciate that. And I know that you mentioned that you feel response has not been robust enough on the part of the U.S. in the past. What would a proportional response from the U.S. forces look like in the wake of this specific attack?
Well, first of all, we should have been strangling Iran's money, continue the sanctions and the work that we were doing under the previous administration. That is now gone. Iran's foreign currency reserves are, I hope I'm not getting this right, but I heard it's maybe about $100 billion, which is I think they only have about $6 or $7 billion at the start of this administration. That gives them a tremendous amount of flexibility. If we had continued to strangle these funds, a lot of these weapons that these proxies would have had, they would not have had at this point. Failing that, you have to stop these weapons from being fired at their source, because you have the Mason and the Carney, which are basically having to expend weapons, which are, quite frankly, maybe 10 times as expensive as these drones and surface-to-surface or ballistic missiles that are being fired from Yemen against neutral shipping and against our ships. So it's an expensive proposition for the U.S. to continue to try to defend vast swaths of sea and airspace without the resource to do that, or without taking offensive action to destroy these weapons in place before they have a chance to be fired.
All right. Retired U.S. Navy Captain Armen Kurdian, appreciate your time tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, Natasha.
Well, thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.